McGuire, who's the CEO of AustraliaTrading.com, who's joining us now to weigh in how the crude is moving. Hi, Peter. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Peter, India has been, slapped with a 50% tariff, and that is coming on the back of the fact that we import cheaper crude from Russia, and of course they also accuse us of selling it, outside. But come 25th of August, when the US delegation is traveling to India, what are going to be the points of discussion? And as far as crude is concerned, now we see the oil prices easing on the back of Russian supply concerns ease after that Trump and Putin meeting. So how do you see the crude prices moving now?
Well, good morning. It's very complex, and when we look back in retrospect over the last couple of weeks and take on board naturally those secondary costs that are being transferred to India, and one needs to be conscious of the weekend and what happened in Alaska, and then a possible meeting which is going to see maybe positive results come out of today in Washington. We need to be also conscious hedge funds are slashing their bullish bets by the most on WTI, the most in 16 years. So that's a first sign. So the market is in I think a structural decline as far as price, and that continuation could be very evident going into the next week or two. So there's a bit of safety there. And then the other side, of course, is what happens as far as negotiations, and is there a deal to be done before India meets with Washington again on the 25th. So it's a big week of market news and views.
All right. Hi, Peter. This is Kanishka also joining in. You were just mentioning how oil prices are expected to move. Any price target that you would like to give us, for the end of the year, that is calendar year 2025? How do you expect oil prices to end this year?
Well, you're running at about 62.5 for WTI at the moment. And good morning. So I think for over the next couple of months, I think that downdraft will continue. I'm expecting somewhere in the 50s to be more or less a headline for WTI. For Brent, I think under $60 as well. The market's trading at the moment, that mid $65 range. And I think the overall momentum is going to be one of softness. We understand the positioning as far as OPEC Plus and America and the US continuing to drill and to raise their production. So I think there's going to be a good news story for consumers towards the Q4 and moving into Christmas.
Expecting the crude prices to come off, and it could be good news for the consumers. But the way the markets are moving, Wall Street is sitting at record high. Now with crude moderating, do you see a strong rally to continue by the end of this year as well? I mean, of course, there are other cues to watch out for as well. But crude playing a big, role in the raw material costs. Is that likely to buoy the sentiment on the market?
Softness in crude is going to be good for the consumer and naturally, hopefully, for inflation also. So there's the first theme there. And then the second part, of course, is the continuing bull market. Are we going to see, and what comes out of in the July minutes over this next couple of days from Jackson Hole and then leading into September, are we seeing possibly, up to an 80% probability of a rate cut? Do we see 50 or 25 or 0%? And then as far as basis points, and then you're looking at what do we see for the rest of Q4? And if you listen to the likes of Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, he would like to see up to 1.5% cut out. So I think this is going to be, if that was to happen, that would absolutely put a rocket ship, I think, under US equities. So one needs to be very mindful of how this plays out in the next couple of months.
All right. Thank you so much, Peter, for taking us through all that. What these top global meets mean for the oil market and the rest of the commodity markets as well. On that note, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Well, on that note, we'll take a very short break. Be right back with more news and updates coming.